It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
That's right. It's the Pete Sousa Show. Thank you guys so much. Wow, this is totally synced up. So I have Scotty, this sounds good, right? Yes? Scotty is on the IR today. But
Yes, you sound good, Pete.
Great. Okay, so we got a whole new setup. Oh, sorry to bother you. We got a whole new setup here in Flower Mound. So I have one of those monitors that you might call like a confidence monitor. It's like a huge TV. By the way, I always say confidence monitors are not confidence monitors. They're actually they screw up your confidence because who likes to look at themselves while they talk? There's nothing that builds confidence in any of us. So we'll just call it the monitor. Maybe we'll call it the brutal monitor or the disappointing monitor. Oh, there you are. You got to look at yourself. Boy, that's disappointing. Because that's truly what it is. I can't stand looking at myself while I talk, but it's important that I can see today because we got Dave Steckel, former Missouri football coach, was a defensive coordinator forever with Gary Pinkel and some of the amazing teams with Mizzou and the Tigers. And also he's an analyst now with ESPN in college football. And I want to talk to Coach Steck about exactly what the climate is among his coaching fraternity with all these, coaching firing. 7 coaches already been fired, and it's not even October 18th yet. It's October 17th. So we're going to talk with Coach Steck about that. We're also going to talk with him about Curt Cignetti re-signing with Indiana at 64 years old, right? Only Urban Meyer is older in the Big Ten than Curt Cignetti. And not Urban Meyer. Did I say Urban Meyer? Kirk Ferentz. Sorry, Kirk Ferentz is 70 years old, okay? One of the oldest coaches in college football, if not the oldest. So the Cignetti deal, right, which is like an amazing financial windfall for him, and it's a total win for Indiana. But it comes as he turns 64, 65 coming right down the pike. And I'm sure he has plenty of years left, right? Like full of piss and vinegar, obviously. But when we talk about college football and it's a young man's game and blah, 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 it's pretty interesting to see somebody 65 years of age sign a huge deal with a Big Ten school. It's going to keep him locked up for a while and certainly keep him away from Penn State. I want to begin today by talking a little bit about BYU and Utah off the field. Some news coming in yesterday afternoon into this morning about Big Noon Kickoff. We knew, obviously, Big Noon Kickoff was going to Provo for some time now, as well it should be. And it brings about a situation that we talked about first here on the show over the summer when it was announced that Dave Portnoy will be joining Fox Noon Kickoff, Big Noon Kickoff. And I think so far, so good. The experiment has gone very well. I think, first of all, it's just gotten more eyeballs and traction for that show. For someone like me who's a little older but still kind of has to operate in like a younger environment with social media, with this show and getting clips out and making sure that everybody has the opportunity to wrap their arms around this experience. It's interesting to see how much I think attention has been generated through Dave Portnoy being on Fox Big Noon Kickoff through social media. And that's almost something that's pretty hard to quantify. But I think if you were to talk to Brett Yormark, I know I have talked to folks at the Big 12 who are extremely happy with the partnership. And why wouldn't you be? Dave Portnoy will be in Provo for this show. And again, why shouldn't he be? Well, you can say a bunch of reasons, but I'm going to discuss that in 1 second. One thing just to clear up. Now, Barstool Sports has a pregame show, a live pregame show that they will do from time to time on the road, right? That will lead in to Big Noon Kickoff. They're not doing it this week. They're only doing 6 of those live remote shows on location before Big Noon Kickoff. And big props to BYU. They did everything in their power to try to get this Barstool Sports show to Provo. They were willing to pay costs for Dave Portnoy and Barstool to do this show. They were working in unison with him, trying to get them to do it. From what I understand, it was sort of like a calendar appointment, sort of time commitment. Like they never thought that this week they will be doing that show. It just wasn't one of the 6 weeks, right? That they were going to run that Barstool show on Fox leading into Big Noon Kickoff. And like there's a ton of rumors, right? Or there were, of course they're not going there because, Mormons and, the church. That's not true, dude. The church is, if you talk to anyone who is like really dialed into their religion, okay? And this is a risky topic here, but I'm going there. They'll tell, you're reminded of what real faith and real spirituality looks like because, you lead with love, dude. Like I grew up in a Catholic environment. It was pretty old school where like my God was like an angry, pissed off God. Okay. At least that's how it was perceived to me by the nuns who were, look, I got a ruler. And no, I'm not that old. They weren't smacking me on the wrist, but there were nuns who were no nonsense. Let's put it that way, who I was terrified of. But, you get to know a little bit more about faith, and that's not really what it's about, right? Like, my God is a forgiving God, right? And so the church, the Mormons, they lead with love, and they're willing to have Dave Portnoy and Barstool Sports on campus in Provo, outside Lavelle Edwards Stadium before a huge matchup, right? A huge matchup. Now, there were a couple stipulations. Apparently, they asked that they don't swear. And that is not the reason that Barstool is not coming. And I get that. Like, it's the same thing with the honor code, with like what happened this past offseason with Jake Retzlaff. It's like, we have rules, right? Like, if I invite you, here's a great example, and forgive me, you can make fun or whatever, but maybe it's not a proper example to hold up one against the other, but like, I'm at Christy's house right now, right? A house that was got, shortly after, or a little while after her and I got together, a house that I will soon be living in full time when we get married, and a house that has rules, like where you have to take your shoes off when you come inside. Now, where I grew up, my mother is like amazing homemaker. I was so blessed. One of the luckiest guys in the world. For a while there, I would say, before I got sober, I was born on third base, thought I hit a triple, right? But my mom or my dad, you could leave your shoes on in the house. I mean, we would get a lot of stuff for doing stuff, leaving stuff out, not being not being accountable for what we did. You had chores, you had to do stuff, and my dad had the iron fist approach, right? But we could wear shoes in the house. So for me, when I got settled in with Christy, and I'm here now 50% of the time, my shoes are coming off when I walk in that door. And can I tell you something? I don't like it. But guess what? I love her. And more than that, if anything, I am, for now, a guest in her house, right? So if she has certain stipulations and rules that she would like me to follow and asks I do so lovingly, why wouldn't I follow them, right? Now, on a much larger degree, if you decide to attend BYU and play football or play basketball, they have an honor code for you that you are to follow. And if you break that honor code, there are consequences, right? We saw that this past summer with Jake Retzlaff. Same thing with Dave Portnoy. Hey, we would love you to come to our house. We want you to come to our party. It's going to be the best party that the Beehive State has seen in decades, right? But we would ask that when you come to our house, you don't swear. I get it. I mean, 1,000%. Chris Visser, who is like our lighthouse here, our North Star at the Rogue Media Network, who is the executive producer of this show, was talking to me the other day about, hey, like, for instance, I will say the word SHIT on this show. I won't say it now. I won't say that when I'm calling an ESPN game because ESPN doesn't want me to say that. So there are certain, and why would I? The audience doesn't want to hear that. It's not the time or place. So I think Barstool is understanding that going to Provo would not be the time and place to let the expletives fly. It's just disrespect. And lest anyone think that that's the reason why that show isn't coming to Provo, let me be the first to tell you, you are wrong. Okay. One other thing I want to talk about with Big Noon Kickoff going to Provo. Dave Portnoy will be there. Dave Portnoy, I think folks, BYU fans, people around the country are going to be pleasantly surprised with his decorum coming up this weekend. I'm not even going to say, oh, Dave's no dummy, like he's looking to manipulate the situation. I will tell you right now, Dave's like a good guy at the core. And you may not believe me, and that's fine. I met Dave, used to hang with Dave. No, this is decades ago through my friend Todd McShay. I knew Dave before Dave was anybody. Okay. Him and Todd McShay went to high school together. Todd had a core group of like 4 or 5 best friends. And Portnoy was one of them. And he was, it's no surprise that he has achieved great success. He was just always a super bright go-getter who thought way outside the box. He's also someone who has matured. And I know just from myself, right? Like, dude, it's not senior week anymore, right? And I know some of the antics and some of the Barstool stuff certainly goes over the line. And there are things that, I don't co-sign on that they do, right? But I think it's more of the younger folks and that younger gen that will engage in that. Once in a while, you'll see Dave lose his mind on a social media clip, and that's usually in a forum where that sort of language and stuff is tolerated, right? I mean, it's just kind of part of their deal. You don't, hey, look, you don't want to judge, right? I don't judge. But I think Dave has evolved as a guy. And I think Dave has an appreciation for the opportunity he now has on mainstream television, right? Being on Fox, Barstool, being daily on Fox Sports 1. And that brings me to my next point. If you remember now, and this may be frustrating, frightening, or whatever, people may tune out now. And I promise I'm going to get to football after this. But I compared Dave Portnoy a lot to Howard Stern when Howard Stern and his career, and he kind of transitioned over to America's Got Talent. At that point in time, I know because I used to listen all the time as a kid growing up in Philadelphia, like Howard Stern or not, like Rush Limbaugh or not, right? Like Clay Travis or not, like Stephen A. Smith or not. These people are compelling and they command a great audience. They're amazing entertainers. And you know, Howard and his shtick, and he will tell you today, he was an angry, insecure young man with a lot of damage, right? And a lot of that played out live on the airwaves. And that's a lot of stuff that he can't take back. And it's out there. But I think his mea culpa, per se, can I say mea culpa per se? I mean, I'm rolling here, right? Let's just keep going. His mea culpa was kind of going on mainstream television and surprising people with his behavior, right? Showing up and being the actual good person that his parents raised, evolving over time. And by the time Howard got on America's Got Talent, he was damn near 60 years old. He's 58, 59 probably. I think he was 58 when he got on America's Got Talent, maybe 57. Dave Portnoy is almost 50 now. And his career, let's say, as far as being a major player, he's probably like 5 years behind Howard, right? Like Howard literally, by the time he started to hit it and ended up on national radio and stuff, and he was the shock jock, he was still in his late 20s. And my point is that let's not fear Dave Portnoy being on Big Noon Kickoff in Provo. I don't think BYU fans are scared, but I'm just saying that for everyone around. Like if you're looking for a lightning rod, look somewhere else. This is going to be a wonderful celebration of the Big 12 of college football. And it's going to be an amazing football game. And it's something that I really cannot wait to see. I believe I was listening to my man, Jake Hatch, Locked On Cougars this morning. I know I say Locked On Cougs sometimes, and I get ripped for that. Jake Hatch says BYU is going to win 24-23. Okay. My prediction on this game, I think I think Utah will win. And I think Utah is going to win 24-17, something around that neighborhood. And I believe it's going to be because Utah's offensive line will overpower and wear down BYU's defense. And the only defensive front seven that has given Utah serious fits so far has been Texas Tech. And when I tell you, Utah has 2 first-round picks on their offensive line, right? Spencer Fano. I mean, like that's a guy who you talk to McShay, he might be like a top 5 pick. When you look at the defensive front seven for Texas Tech, they got like 3 guys there who could maybe be playing in the NFL right now. They're just exceptional. And so I think against a more, mortal defensive front seven, I think that this is an opportunity for Utah's offensive line to remind us what all the hullabaloo was about before the season. And so I think that is where it gets done. And I also think Bear Bachmeier is due that freshman performance where he reminds us, oh, yeah, he is a freshman. I mean, this team's 6-0. The kid's playing his rear end off. And I've said before, I believe Smith Snowden is going to make a huge play for Utah on defense this week because primarily that is where he is playing. He's playing on the defensive side of the football this week. He's been playing both ways pretty much all year long. So a lot to be excited about. This is a wonderful time of year with college football. And if you are BYU, And I want to look this up quickly while I have a chance to see how fast I can do this. I'm pretty bad at this. But I know there is one issue for BYU, right? Here, I'm bad at this. Conference schedules. The Cougars' schedule does not become forgiving after this game. And I just wanted to check in with you on that, okay? You have Utah, right? That's our game on Saturday night. As I stall, here we go. Come on, Pete. And gosh, I'm so bad at this, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so then you have Iowa State. No, you're at Iowa State. So after the Utah game, which you have at home, you're at Iowa State, then you're at Texas Tech, right? Then you come home, you play TCU, but then you're at Cincinnati, who's ranked 24th right now. So as much as you say, okay, well, Bear Bachmeier may have that game where he's allowed some room and some wiggle room to make mistakes, BYU as a team really can't afford to lose this game if they want to play in the Big 12 championship, right? On the other side of that, when you look at Utah's schedule, they don't have much room for error either, because if you remember, this is a squad, right, losing to Texas Tech earlier. And when you look at the rest of their schedule, man, it's not easy. Let's see their schedule here. You can tell I'm like trying to stall, but I'm not. See, the problem is with this new monitor we have today. Let's see. Can I get their schedule? Yes, I can. Full schedule. So after this game, myself and Leger Duzable, we're getting into this on Inside the 12 this week. I want you guys to watch that too. You can go watch it on HBO Max or the Big 12's YouTube page. Okay, so they have BYU on Saturday, then Colorado at home, then Cincinnati at home, then you're at Baylor, Kansas State at home, Kansas. Dude, that's what we like to call manageable, okay? I'm not saying it's a cakewalk, but it's manageable. If Utah can win this game, the table is set for them to show up in Arlington, right? And I think they will win this game. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. Sorry for the delay with the schedule. I'm kind of a moron if you haven't noticed yet. But, hey, I hope I'm a lovable moron because I appreciate you guys watching. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We got Dave Steckel coming up at 10:40 Central Time. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about a situation that might as well have played out in an old folks' home. But it was an amazing situation. And the old folks' home was popping last night. Stay with us. Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovakics.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB, your bank for life, takes pride in being more than a bank. At TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. We are live in North Texas, baby, just outside the DFW in Flower Mound. Looking forward, by the way, tomorrow or Sunday, I'm headed up to an F1 race. I've never been to one. No college football this week, so Christy, myself, her son, we're going to be hitting it. I think tomorrow afternoon we're going to head down to Austin and check that out. And then next week I'm back calling football. I have TCU at West Virginia in Morgantown for ESPN. So I'll be checking both those teams out this weekend, TCU and Baylor. 11 o'clock Central tomorrow. Man, I think I was texting with my buddy Lowell Galindo, who's going to be calling that game for ESPN. I was like, bro, get ready for Sawyer Robertson, man. Get ready. I think he is he's going to come out with a flamethrower, a real opportunity for Sawyer to have great success. As we see right there, that, the Big 12, man, there are some huge games. Arizona at Houston, Baylor at TCU, Texas Tech and Arizona State. Looks like Sam Levitt's going to play. And then we've talked a lot about Utah and BYU. I think the Texas Tech Arizona State game and the Baylor game are just going to be so interesting. And Houston, if they can win that game, we'll start to talk about, whoa, are the Cougs for real? Yeah, I think they are. And Scotty B, the Baylor King, of course, checking in, telling us that Baron Morton is questionable. But dude, then you got Will Hammond. So it's like that's one of those things where one of the reasons why Texas Tech is such a monster right now. By the way, did you see how their AD, Kirby Holcott, do not show up at that game and throw a tortilla on the field, dude. I mean, I would do not. Anybody that's thinking about doing that, that'll be huge trouble. And that game is in Tempe, right? I would think at some point, if I'm let's say what is BYU plays Utah. I mean, no, BYU plays at Texas Tech. Coming up in a little bit, man, if I'm a BYU fan, maybe I throw a tortilla on the field to give everybody a hard time because there is no more joking about the tortillas. We almost saw, what was it, Lance Leipold and Joey McGuire. Boy, they got into it post game. And Hey, dude, and that's another one of those deals. Like, it's like, yo, man, coaches are wired different. Football is not for gentlemen and ladies that would like to be on the mental board of health. It's just not. And I'm not condoning any kind of crazy activity by players and coaches, but it's pretty intense, man. So those two jawing after a game doesn't surprise me, and it doesn't bother me at all. One thing that did surprise me last night, man, the geriatric ward came alive big time in Cincinnati. Watching Thursday night football was a lot of fun. And let me tell you why, okay? We all kind of cling to yesteryear, right? Myself specifically, as a play-by-play guy and a broadcaster, I love old school broadcasters. Yeah, Samuel Holtz is calling it the Icy Hot Bowl last night. Yeah, it was. The Ben Gay Bowl, right? But you have Al Michaels at 80 years of age calling, I think, and I've watched Al this year a lot. I will watch those Amazon Thursday night games just to hear Al Michaels. So anybody that wants to talk smack about Al, like, oh, he did this wrong or blah, blah, it's like, dude, just so everybody knows, I'm watching because of Al Michaels, because some of the games, they've been better this year, but I don't know. They're not always tremendous. Last night's game was, and so was Al. And that's pretty cool, too, because Al Michaels was the play-by-play guy for the Cincinnati Reds when they had the big red machine. He left Cincinnati to go be the play-by-play guy for the San Francisco Giants, because I think the Giants like tripled his pay at the time. And it was just a move where he had to do it. But he spent a lot of time in Cincinnati, called some of the best baseball that I know I've ever seen, as he, matriculated and was with ABC, Monday Night Baseball, and then calling, or Sunday Night Baseball. No, I think it was Monday night. And then calling all of, the World Series and stuff like that. But he said to Dan Patrick, I think a few weeks ago, he has not called a baseball game since 1995. And that was, I think it was the World Series, the Indians and the Braves. Indians and the Braves? Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, and I think that was a series the Braves won. It was. So I was loving Al like in his bag last night, right? There was a play at the end of the game. I think it was Jamar Chase, by the way, had 16 catches for like 180 yards. And I think it was Jamar Chase at the end of the game caught a pass that was going to set up a game-winning field goal. And rather than score, he slid to let the clock expire. And I mean, Al was so delighted to see a young player make a heads-up play. I really thought Herb Street was going to have to call the fire department, the Cincinnati Fire Department, just hose him off. Al was like, brilliant. I was like, wow. It's like, you don't hear Al that pleased, probably because he was trying to avoid any kind of overtime. I'm not exactly sure how the points were broken down, but, Al hates overtime. But then you have, outside of my main man, Al Michaels, Aaron Rodgers at 41 and Joe Flacco at 40 lighten up the night. First of all, if I'm a Bengals fan, I feel like real good about the way we're headed, relatively speaking. Because yesterday afternoon, you're 2-4. You've got this 40-year-old cast-off who's going to be your starter now because Browning wasn't able to get the job done, which is a shame because I think we all appreciate seeing his significant other, but whatever. That's just red-blooded male talk. And so now you got Flacco in there who's doing a hell of a job, right? And now it's like, okay, where are we going from here, right? Like, it's one of those deals where Cincinnati's good enough as a team defensively and at the skill positions that if you can find a way where Joe Flacco can go bing bong, like make those quick short throws with the vision and like you could tell last night. One of the things about Flacco that I loved, and I'm not sitting here talking like I'm an offensive coordinator. I didn't learn at the foot of Bill Walsh, but I've watched enough football and talked to enough football coaches that I know that decisiveness from a quarterback is something that can separate them from the pack. And we saw that last night with Flacco. And I know that Cincinnati's offensive line takes a lot of heat, but man, Flacco looked really good last night. Just kind of dropping back, boom, boom. And, Jamar Chase doesn't hurt your cause. right? I mean, having a dude like that. So there is hope in Cincinnati. For the Steelers, yeah, you lost last night. It sucked, but what a game. What a game. What a game. And, the Aaron Rodgers drum has been it's interesting, right? Like, I really do think, even though the Steelers are one of the most intriguing, powerful, historic organizations in the history of the NFL, it's a bigger deal when Aaron Rodgers is playing for the New York Jets, who suck, because of that New York market and because of everything that comes with that. It's almost like he's been tucked away in Pittsburgh, and now all of a sudden, like yesterday, I'm like, wow, Steelers 4-1, and then you start to look at, wow, look at Aaron Rodgers, look at his numbers, and last night, look at his arm. Like that's still a blowtorch. Some of those throws he was making late in the game, those guys weren't catching them. They were just getting stuck with them, and if you're throwing the ball that well at 41 years old, like Aaron Rodgers, man, like he always, I love, I told my brother Michael yesterday, I was almost like an apology or an admission. I was like, dude, I think I'm like a huge Stephen A. Smith fan, like officially. I just think I'm a big fan. I'm in my car. I'm listening to his radio show run again, right? Like the second time it runs in the evening after Mad Dog Russo on Sirius, Mad Dog Radio. But, Stephen A. Smith has always talked about, I can remember since 2011 or 2012, Aaron Rodgers just has the best arm, is one of the best throwers of the football he's ever seen. And man, it's hard. It's hard to disagree with that. It truly is. I mean, watching him throw last night, 4 touchdowns to 4 tight ends. I don't know, man. I mean, probably a signature win for the Bengals. But also, if you're a Steelers fan or if you're just an average NFL fan who decided to parachute in on a Thursday night and watch that game, it was a real awesome experience. One of my funny broadcasting moments, you always hear about Herb Street and Al Michaels. Are they getting along? I think they get along just fine. I mean, I really think they do. I think that, Al Michaels may be at a juncture in his career where it's like he's 80 years old, dude. It's like, look, man, I'm in my, I'll say mid-40s. I'm in my mid-40s. Like, I'm covered friends-wise. Like at this point, when you're a little kid, it's like the old Seinfeld bit. Somebody jumps in the sandbox with you. It's like, oh my God, like you like sand? I like sand. You like cars? We can run in the sand. Let's be best friends. It's a little different when you're older, right? Like Al Michaels is probably through taking applications as far as like close friends are concerned. So maybe he's not so quick to like nestle up to Kirk Herbstreit. And I don't think Kirk Herbstreit could care less. But you hear about, it takes a minute to gel with somebody. And last night they were talking about Cincinnati. I forget what it was, but they just had their broadcaster moment where they just said, well, how about dinner last night? Great dinner. Great dinner last night. And then they both acknowledged the great dinner, and they're like, okay, 3rd and 10. I was like, that's a classic. And it wasn't shoehorned in. It was natural. But there was a little bit of it that felt maybe it was like, let's let people know we actually do like each other. I'm definitely stuck on that. Stuck on stupid, right? But all right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with one of the most brilliant defensive minds ever to grace the sidelines in college football, Dave Steckel, joining us shortly. The Pete Sousa Show. Back after this.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
whypersonalloans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit personalloans.com today.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on the screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
Stability.
The Pete Sousa Show is back, and let's bring him in right now. The coach, Coach Steck. One of the most brilliant minds, brilliant defensive minds in college football history, joining us today. Coach Steck, what's happening?
How you doing, Pete? I'm very humbled with that introduction, but I don't know about the brilliance of the mind. I went to Kutztown, my friend.
So did Andre Reed, baby. He was brilliant. He's in the Hall of Fame.
That's a good point. Well made. Well made. You doing good?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. It's really good to see your face. At some point, they're going to realize that they got to put us back together again and let us call a game. I mean,
that was an absolute blast and great chemistry, and Herb Street and Michael's got nothing to us, man.
They got nothing on us, man. But
I'm the old man, and you're the young pup.
But spending time with you, I learned so much from you, and that's why I wanted to have you on, because I love, being a former football player myself. I really take to coaches like yourself. I just think there's so much wisdom you have to share, and so many things that I don't know are inside that I love to pull out of you guys. And I want to ask you about coaches now and what's happening. I mean, with 7 coaches getting fired already this year in season, and we're not even, it's October 17th. Like when you were with Coach Pinkel at Mizzou, right? Like something like this was unthinkable. Like this massive, right? These numbers. What has changed in our college football culture that this is happening now?
Well, to be frank with you, Pete, I think this has always happened. I really believe that. It's just, it didn't happen to us because we got fortunate. I'll never forget your show, I believe, is down in Texas, but it goes all over the country. And we were playing Iowa State, okay? And it was 2000 and let's see, it was 1, 2, and 3, 1, 4. It was 2005, and we had to go to a bowl game, okay, or we're getting fired. But they gave us that 5th year because we had 3 losing seasons in 4 years, and we had that 5th year coming, and our quarterback was a kid named Brad Smith. He was phenomenal, okay? We're down 14 in the 4th quarter, and Brad Smith gets knocked out of the game, okay? He gets concussed. Well, comes a little freshman named Chase Daniel. Comes on the field, and boom, touchdown. Somehow, some way, we stop him on defense. Chase Daniel goes down, touchdown. We tie the game. We go into overtime. We kick the field goal. We win. We go to the Independence Bowl, okay? And I got goosebumps on my legs telling you this. We go to the Independence Bowl, and the rest is history. And what I mean by that is, we ended up finishing the next 10 seasons with 5-10 win seasons. So if we don't win that game, though, we're fired. And if you look at the history, going way back to the 2000s, all these programs fire coaches, okay, because they want to get better. Now, did you know probably less than a third of them get better? Most of them stay the same, and there's a big swing where they actually get worse. You just take it from 2021, just 2021. There's been 9 football coaches fired. And I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about from 2021. 9 football coaches have been fired. 1 coach did better. And when I say did better, he only did better 1 season, and that's Sonny Dykes. They fired Gary, who's a great football coach at TCU. They get rid of Gary. Sonny comes in 2 years later, goes to play for the national championship. What's he done lately?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that mean or bullshit.
No.
The other 8 schools, 4 of them stayed the same. We're talking about USC, Miami, LSU, Houston. They just stayed the same. And oh, by the way, since 2021, 4 teams got worse. Florida, Wisconsin, Middle Tennessee, North Carolina State. Are you kidding me? And now you take a guy, because the talk is all about James Franklin, who's actually a very good friend of mine. Have great respect for James Franklin. In fact, I love trivia, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, trivia. The definition of trivia is useless information, okay? Here's some useless information. James Franklin's first college job as a coach. He was a wide receiver coach. Do you know where?
No, you got to tell me.
You got to put your hand over your heart, because it was Kutztown. He was an All-American. I think he was an All-American. Don't quote that, but he's a great player at East Stroudsburg. He's from the Philadelphia area.
He's from Langhorne, right? He's from Langhorne, I think, right? Yeah.
I believe. No, he's from Chamonix, I think. Either tomato, but he's in that area, okay? And he goes on in a 12-year run. Do you realize in the last 3 years he's won 34 games?
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to win 30 games, 10 games a season? He's won 104 games in 12 years, whatever that math turns out to be. Okay, he took a program that was fluttering that Bill O'Brien had, great respect for Bill, took him out of the ashes there, okay?
Yeah.
Got him to a little bit of respectability, and then he moved on back to the pros. In comes James Franklin, who turned them into a perennial winner. Perennial winner. They haven't won a national championship since 1984, okay? He won at Vanderbilt. Now, Clark Lay is doing a great job there.
Yeah.
Great job, okay? But do you realize that they didn't win at Vanderbilt since 1974 till James Franklin got there? What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are guys saying inside your fraternity about a move like this? Is it one of those things like, here we go again, another one of us is getting screwed? Or is it like, wow, this one is scary for us because it really shows where we are right now, right? As a sport of college football that everybody says has changed so much.
I think it's getting scary from the standpoint of NIL. Who and I don't know this. I don't know. I'm not inside the administration, okay, Pete? But who made the decision? Did the AD, did the alums, did the NIL guys do it? Did the Jersey, whoever sponsors them, do it, okay? Because $48 million or 49 or 40, or whatever it is, that's a boatload of money, man, okay? So someone higher up than the athletic director made this decision, in my humbled opinion, because the athletic director can say, okay, you're out. I'll come up with $45,000. Now, the other thing that's a tragedy, okay, even if that's a word. If not, it's a Kutztown word. Pete, here's what I want. I want all your viewers to send this out, okay? Because what they don't understand is James Franklin, who, first of all, shouldn't have been fired. He's walking away with close to $50 million, okay? That's what they owe. And there's a balanced buyout fee that even if you get another job for less money, they got to come up with the other money. So the question becomes, what about the assistants? What about all the families and people they just put out of jobs at the end of the season, and wives might be pregnant, little kids got to change schools. Assistant coaches don't have the buyout. They might have another year on their contract at $400,000, $500,000, which I understand that's not chump change. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not ignorant to that. But you're putting these people out of livelihoods and out of their work, and they won 104 games in 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is mind-boggling to me, the state of college football and where it's at and the short leashes these coaches get because of NIL. And you know whose fault it is? It's damn Kurt Signetti's.
Why do you say that?
And I like Kurt Signetti, and I think Kurt Signetti's a hell of a ball coach, so I'm just teasing. Because he goes to Indiana and does what he does, okay? And then everybody else says, well, we can do that. No, not everybody can do that, you know? What's the support? What's the foundation? And we're talking about a guy who wins like Kurt Signetti. It's mind-boggling to me.
Well, and by the way, Coach Signetti has not yet. She showed us at James Madison, but he hasn't showed us the sustainability, right? Like even like you guys did at Mizzou. Like he's number 3 in the country. Amazing year last year. But talk to me in 6-7 years. That's just the reality of it. I think we get swept away. I want to ask you about, because everybody says now it's great that the players are getting paid, and sure as hell it is. But I think you can describe probably better than almost anybody how these young men are losing out, right, in this new environment. Like the transient nature of this sport and the kind of microwavable, like I need to play now, I need to get paid now. A lot of these dudes just aren't getting the same experiences that the young men got playing for you, right, when you were a head coach or when you were assistant with Missouri. Or like me, when I was at Richmond and I was injured, I couldn't even play, but I still had the experience with my coaches, with my teammates for 4 solid years. How do you think this is affecting these players now, life-wise?
I'm not around the players, so that hurts me a little bit. I get to watch them at practice and things of that nature. As I apologize to all the people listening, if you can hear my dog barking in the background.
That's great.
Okay, the mailman must be coming. But to answer your question, first of all, we did that game together, okay? And the one thing that I'm very humbled and honored about is these coaches let me pull my coach's card and go to practice and watch how they practice, watch how they coach, kind of talk to them a little bit. And I talked to every coach and I asked them about NIL and transfer portal. First thing they all say is they hate it. It's absurd. It's crazy coming from a coach's standpoint, But yet we have it, okay? And NIL was set up, and I believe in NIL from this standpoint. Name, image, likeness. Guys go out and do commercials. Guys, they wear their shirts in the stands. They should be getting kickbacks from this. I wholeheartedly support name, image, and likeness, okay? But to pay a kid $4 million to come to my school to play quarterback, that's not college football. That's pro football. And what they've jumped into, Pete, is pro football without a salary cap, okay, and not without a lengthy contract. It's absurd to me. It really is. And I think when it gets down to the nuts and bolts of coaching, what we had at Mizzou and the Frank Beamers of the world at Virginia Tech, and honestly, when James got to Penn State, because that's one of our hot topics, is you got these players into your program. You recruited them. You had a special bond with them. You developed them. That's important. You develop these kids, and you build these bonds of life experiences that coaches love when they get a text from a former player or a phone call from a former player, and they might want advice. They might want this. They might want to just say, what's up? Or, do you remember when, coach, which I get. All players go through those things. What kind of relationship you have when you go to 4 different schools in 4 years to the highest bidder, or guys who are transferring out is because they want more money or they want more playing time. Well, I understand that, and I get that. But what about working your rear ends off to get more experience and playing time at where you're at and develop these kids and build lifetime relationships? You know, in pro football, they put that up on the screen. I love it. I shush my girls all the time. I want to hear this. I want to hear this. Because I want to hear where they went to college. Okay? Yeah. You know, MIZ or someone will, went to this school or that school or this school or that school. What are they going to be doing in a couple of years? I went to Alabama, Missouri, Tulane, and Fresno State. I don't get it. Where are they going to go back for homecoming? So that the core of what I grew up in, what you grew up in, I think it's starting to get splintered because of this. And I really wish they went back to the, now they're going to do the $20.5 million, I guess, for all athletic departments. You can still go do it name, image, and likeness. However, 18, whatever that figure is, 80% is going to go to football. And you know what's going to come up, Pete? It's going to go back to they're getting more money. How do they get more money? Well, they're cheating. Yeah. Okay, because you know what? The old meow, meow, the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
And they're not going back. And I think that's what's driving these fired coaches in October so that they can get guys in there November 1st or right after Thanksgiving, and get ready for the transfer portal and get ready for high school recruiting, which the high school kids are paying for the transfer portal now. You got to look at the big picture with the group of 5 and FCS, really good FCS, because where are they going to go get these kids? Where are they going to go plunger those programs because they've been developed by somebody else?
Yeah.
So they move up, it's just, I think it's a crazy affair. However, college football is high. The percentages of people watching college football and engaging in college football is the best it's ever been because
we get those emails from ESPN, like the audience stuff. I mean, every week it's like up percent, and it's not like inflated. They send them to us. We're staff. Like it's crazy, right? Like just more and more people are consuming this sport. Are coaches being driven away? College coaches, are they being like? Would a guy like you be more apt to pick up a phone and maybe somebody like your brother or somebody in the NFL that says, "Hey, Steck, like." This is the 4th time we've offered you this opportunity. And then you're like, you know what? I'm doing it this time because this is too much.
There might be some, but I think, the NFL has been for years very sensitive, with coaches and, billionaire money, billionaires with little money. Hey, I don't like what I got, so I'm getting rid of this guy. It happened in Tennessee already. How do you build a program? I'm not saying they showed improvement, but you got a rookie quarterback trying to make improvement, and it's your second or whatever it is season for him, and he's canned. So there's not a lot of stability. And I think, Bud Grant told me a long time ago, God rest his soul. Bud Grant, a long time ago, I was getting ready to get into coaching, and he looked at me and said, little Steck, because my brother was working for him at the time, he says, you sure you want to get in this business? I'm like a little dog. yeah, I want to get in this. He goes, well, it's a very insecure profession. I said, yeah, I know, you got to move around a lot, He goes, no, you know why it's an insecure profession? I said, no, sir. He said, because it's made up of insecure people. And what he's saying, that we're all insecure people. And when it comes to wins and losses, that's what drives a train. And having to win on a daily basis and know you have no security makes you even more insecure, okay? And I think there's a lot of great coaches out there that if they just gave them a second chance, too many people give up on somebody 5 seconds or 5 minutes before an unbelievable miracle happens.
Yes.
And you got to give these people, empowerment of their program. And you can't just fire them off. Now, once there's a track record, I understand. We had the ability at Mizzou to get that 5th year. We would have never taken off if we not only did we get the 5th year, but we had to go to the 5th year in the last game of the season before we went to a bowl game to take off. And you never know when that's going to happen. Well, I think James Franklin was taken off. And I flashed back to everybody who was bitching and moaning about, well, they went out to UCLA. Well, you know what I immediately flashed back to, Pete?
What?
In 2010, okay? Everybody's going to, all your listeners are rolling their eyes. Hey, old man, that was 15 years ago. We were undefeated, getting ready to play a really good Nebraska football team, which, by the way, Bo Pelini did a hell of a job there. They fired Bo, okay? And where have they been since? Okay, now Matt Rule's 5-1 right now. And Matt's a hell of a ball coach, Pennsylvania kid, God love him. So he's slowly getting it turned. But where have they been since Bo Pelini? Another example of firing a coach, okay? But it's 2010 and hard-fought game, and we lose, just like the Oregon game. You know, we were supposed to make that turn. Well, we went down to Texas Tech at night. We're winning at halftime. You walk in our locker room, you really, honestly, you really thought you were at a funeral. And I'm going, what's going on here? We're winning. Well, we lost that game. And everybody's like, how do you lose to Texas Tech at the time? They weren't having a great season. Well, we went back and evaluated. You know what happened, Pete? Nebraska beat us twice. They beat us in the game, and we were so depressed about it, we couldn't overcome our emotions, and we lost the next week. That's what happened to Penn State. They lost to Oregon. Great game. Great college football game. Two great powerhouses. And they came up short. They go all the way across the country to play UCLA, and they come up short. So what happened? Oregon beat them twice. Now, Northwestern game, I didn't see it. I don't know much about it. However, things happen. You're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids, you know? So it's a very fragile business, you know?
What do you think about that Penn State job? Like when you hear, I do, and you help me out with this a little bit. And I'm not, asking you to give me any crazy secrets, but like when a guy like Matt Rule yesterday on the Pat McAfee show says, hey, I am focused on the season. I believe him, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I think his agent probably is handling all of that stuff, right? Or am I wrong? Like how does that work? Because I perceive Matt Rule to be a good man at the end of the day. And I don't think, he's put in a real tough situation when you're asked these questions, because the AD is a strong friend of his. He walked on there and played for Joe Pa. I mean, how do you not get super interested about that job if you're Matt Rule?
I understand. He's a Penn State alum. He's a Pennsylvania kid. His friends there. I completely understand that. The problem is, and I hate to say it because I'm part of it now, which when we go do games together, Pete, you see all the coaches, how they roll their eyes at us, at me specifically, because today I went to the dark side with the media. But the media creates a lot of this, and they all want the next best story, I think the media's gotten out of hand, and I'm talking as a general statement ever since Watergate, They took the president down, so they go after everybody. And I also completely understand them asking those questions. But it's really hard as a football coach to be honest. And who's listening when Matt Rule talks the most? His players.
Yeah.
And what I love about Coach Rule is he's upfront, he's honest, and he's letting his players know, but he's saying how much he loves it at Nebraska. And how can you not? It's Nebraska. You know what I mean? Come on, they have a great tradition too.
Yes.
A fantastic tradition. And how can you not look? But to answer your question even more specific, I think a lot of that is the agents in the background. It's an agent-driven basis where my guy, and they say, well, maybe because of all this buyout, the salaries are going to get different. You see what happened? Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? No, it's not. Indiana just jumped Kurt Signetti $3 million in another year. He's making $11 million, $93 million over the next 8 years. So the money's not going away. I don't know. It's just it's out of hand with what's going on. I wish Matt Rule the best. I hope that he really has an inside beat with his players, because I think he's an honest, genuine, one hell of a ball coach. But got the short end of the stick in Carolina. They didn't give him enough time there. He wins. But my only question is, Matt Rule wins. Can he win better than James? And the only answer to that is going to be yes, if the next head coach at Penn State wins a national championship.
Yeah, that's the only place to go. A couple more for you, or at least one more. I think it's interesting because I've talked to I'm lucky, really lucky to talk to big time college coaches like you, and when I call these games, I get to work with you, and then I get to talk to these Power 4 coaches. And I had a guy tell me this year, I was like, hey, what's your why, kind of? And he was like, man, my wife asks me that all the time. Like, why the hell am I still doing this? Because of all the stuff that's going on. And he said, look, if I was in my 30s, it would make a little bit more sense for me, right, to be putting the pedal to the metal. He said, at my age, in my late 50s, he said, it's getting hard. Now, that's why I find the Cignetti thing so interesting. 64 years old, and he's making it happen. Like, do you think it is a young man's game? Or and if you don't, like, how's a guy like Cignetti making this happen?
I think what happens as you get older, and I'll use the example, and I can't speak for Curt Cignetti, and he is a heck of a ball coach. But you know that old saying that it gets in your blood? It's just crazy. I have an affection, a love affection with my wife and football. And it just gets to you. And the relationships that happen in the locker room, in the position meetings, helping young men's lives out with where they want to go in their lives, it gets addicting to you, okay? That's number one. Number two, my college buddies always say, laugh at me because I was always up on the lingo when I was in a locker room with all the young guys. You know, you're 50 years old, you're around these young kids all the time. And they're like, when are you ever going to grow up, Steck? I don't know, it's kind of hard because you guys left college and grew up. I'm still in college around 18, 22-year-olds. It keeps you youthful. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of that and the relationships and watching kids succeed and being a teacher, you know, football is no different than the math teacher, the geography teacher, except for you make a greater impact. You're a teacher. If you're a great coach, you're a teacher. You're teaching the fundamentals of the game, the rules of the game, and all that kind of stuff. But the thing I tell everybody that's different between a football coach and a professor is when the young man's parents go through a divorce or have one of their parents pass or something of that nature, they don't go see their geography professor. They come run and talk to their coach. Yes. Okay? Because of the relationship that you build with them. And that's what keeps coaches young, with Curt at 63 or 2, whatever you said he was, and keeps you going in this business. Now, the other stuff of the business, that's what makes you crazy. Yeah. But it's not the kids, it's not the coaching, it's not the football, it's not game day. I mean, George Ball, when I quit down, when I first got into coaching, I said, Coach, how do you know when you got to get out? He said, when the game gets ready to start and you hear the band play and you don't get goosebumps, get out.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You and I do games together, and when I hear the band play, I still get goosebumps up in the press box. You know, it's just, and that's what coaching is, because you want to see these kids succeed and do well. And yes, he's getting paid a lot of money, but he's also touching lives.
Dude, and what you said, I mean, it's a testament to these dudes. When I had some stuff hit the fan in college, first guy I went looking for was Jeff Hansen, who was an assistant for Cignetti at James Madison, and Joe Cohen was another guy. Like, those were the guys, and I'm talking to them as a young guy who thinks he's rock, so tough, and I'm welling up telling these guys all this important stuff. I was definitely not headed over to the communications building to talk to Professor Heller. God bless her, she was awesome, but it just wasn't like that, and that's a real good point, dude.
Yeah, it's unbelievable on all the things that get thrown on a coach's desk that you can't even fathom, and not only you can't fathom it, is you got to keep it confidential, and sometimes things would leak out, and my wife, God love her, would always say, why didn't you tell me that? Don't ever use this on your wife, though. You're on a need-to-know basis, and you didn't need to know that, But the other thing I told her is I was protecting her, because you know why? Everybody would gossip, especially pick on Mizzou, a small college town, and news would get out about something or whatever. It's like, why didn't you tell me that? I said, because when people come up to you and say, you never told me that, you say, I didn't know about it. Yeah. And she's telling the truth, she's telling the honest to God truth. And she come on, why didn't you tell me that? Well, you know what? That's that person's business. But all the stuff that gets, my point to sincerity on this is the things that are thrown on a coach's desk is unbelievable. That the stories I could tell you that players told me from one stream to the other is just mind-boggling, And they come to you for answers. They come for you for support. They come for you for some love. And that's what coaches do for their players.
Steck, you're the best. By the way, I would advise everybody to jump on Amazon, Check out The Fisherman. Leadership traits to win at the game of life by this guy, the coach, Dave Steckel. Coach, man, I think we're going to get another one here pretty soon. I feel like we got an FCS playoff game maybe around Thanksgiving in our future.
That would be absolutely awesome. It was a joy working with you. It's a joy talking to you. And I got to tip my hat. What you do as a play-by-play guy and what you do on your show is you're a rock star, man. So keep doing what you're doing, and I got you, man.
All right, I'll talk to you soon, Coach. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me on.
The coach, Dave Steckel. I mean, come on, folks. I tell you how cool the guy is, but I don't need to because he just shows us. And, I could talk to guys like that. You can't even imagine the impact he has had to so many young dudes that have come and gone, under his watch as a coach. And that's what is really special about these coaches, man. The great impact they make on the lives of young people. It cannot be overstated. All right, the Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovatrics. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and wrap it up.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at GEVI.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Stability.
All right, the Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacic's, getting set to wrap things up here on a Friday. A couple things just to go over. There was one thing I found so interesting, just a piece of news that came out about Bob Myers. He was one of my favorite analysts at ESPN on the NBA last year, for the last couple years, I guess. Former Golden State Warriors general manager, and he's leaving his role as an ESPN analyst to become president of sports for Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment. So he'll work across many of the world's top leagues. I don't even know what that, some of these guys get so high profile, like some of these sports executives that take these jobs. Like I would love to see Myers continue to work in personnel, but I guess his role is, or go back to working in personnel. But he's this is the quote from ESPN, this is Adam Schefter actually broke the story. Myers will work in a full-time role with the goal of maximizing opportunities and bolstering process for a Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment portfolio that includes the Sixers, the New Jersey Devils, Crystal Palace FC, also Joe Gibbs Racing with NASCAR. He's going to help him with the Commanders as well. It's weird. I mean, I'm sure Bob Myers knows what the hell he's doing, but I'm going to miss him on ESPN. That's basically all I'm saying here. And it's funny too, because I had a feeling, like I'm sure something like this that didn't happen overnight. I got the feeling last year, one of the reasons that Myers was able to handle like someone like Stephen A. Smith with the grace that he did is because I really got to believe, like when he's sitting there in Oklahoma City and Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins are having first take in front of him. And then when he is at the NBA draft, that was like Stephen A. was on another level. And I think Myers was just like, okay, I guess I'm just going to sit here and not talk. But I think in the back of his head, somebody who is so comfortable in his own skin was probably like, man, I'm getting the hell out of here anyways. Like, I don't care. I think he was like, it was clear that TV, in my opinion, was a pit stop for a guy like that, because although he was certainly invested, it never really seemed to hit his ego at all. Like he just seems like the coolest guy. I wish he would stick around in a role that would be more accessible, because I love seeing him on my TV. But good luck to him. Some of those and again, I can reach back to when I used to work in pro sports. I was like a minion, but I mean, I was there. There's a group of guys. My brother Mike's friend is like this. I consider him a friend of myself. Sean Downs. He played football and lacrosse at Villanova. He's like, I think he is with Excel Sports Management now. Greg Economou, who ran the Hornets when I was there for a while. These sports executives. The other guy that Howard Eskin. He was in Philly. Eskin used to always call him the spin doctor. He played baseball at Villanova. He's with Live Golf now. These sports marketing executives and ultimately like these sports executives, they're like athletic directors on steroids. And sometimes they'll go back to being ADs because those jobs are so expensive. But they're always like it's like Wall Street meets pro sports. And some of them are a little too slick for my comfort level. You get too many of those big ties, and I'm always like, I don't know. I wear a big tie once in a while, but every day with the huge tie, and it's like, what's this guy selling? Why is he so like? Take it easy. But they're wildly successful and they make a lot of money. I can only imagine what Josh Harris is paying Bob Myers in this new role. He's probably got a percentage or something. But I always find those jobs super interesting. When my man Sean Downs told me once, I was at like a crossroads. And this is the guy that's at Excel. Sean has been everywhere from NASCAR, the Nets. I think, he worked with Madison Square Garden with Greg Economou. But like, if you want to work in pro sports, like you better, and you want to make money. Sean Downs told me this a long time ago. You better either one, generate revenue or be a player or a coach. And outside of that, it's like really hard. But if you can generate revenue, or at least, and I think a lot of these guys do this, make people think you're generating revenue, right? A lot of smoke and mirrors and ideas. You can have a fruitful career in sports. But I think one thing about these sports executives, and I'm talking about guys who aren't on the personnel side, dude, they go from job to job to job to job to job to job. It's crazy. Like, you follow these dudes on LinkedIn. It's like, where's he going next? Live Golf has seemed to be a nice hideout for a lot of these dudes. I can't imagine, honestly. Real quick, I think, and this is like, if you've listened this long, you've earned the right to hear me like tell my absolute truth about it. I think a lot of those guys are like stealing money, like just like the checks are probably huge, and I'd love to know exactly what they're doing. And maybe it's essential. Maybe the guys with the money, right, the Saudi money running Live Golf, maybe they don't know what to do, so they need these guys. But it is crazy to see those guys. They just bounce around, right, like Frogger, from one lily pad to another. They're successful. They do great. But boy, they are slick, aren't they? If you know, you know. All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We will be back on Monday. We got a great week coming up for you. I will be doing some traveling next week. So we'll keep you posted on like show times. I think Wednesday, our show time will be a little up in the air because I'm going to Big 12 Media Days in Kansas City for the Big 12 and NBC. And then on Thursday, I'll probably go to Morgantown. I got to figure this out for that West Virginia TCU game. So I'm sure Friday's show will be on the road. And then the following Monday, we have our sports seminar or college basketball seminar for ESPN in Charlotte. So I'll be locking things down with Swingler and Chris Visser. And of course, my significant other, the great Christy Hunt, who's downstairs at like her command center where she works all day with like 50 screens. You'd think she was like a prison guard or something, or in charge of it. I mean, she is dialed in over there, running marketing for this big time company. We got way more serious stuff going on downstairs than we do upstairs. I can promise you that. But yeah, so I got some movement coming up over the next week and a half. But the Pete Sousa Show will be here for you. And if the times change, we'll let you know. And you can always get it on YouTube. It's up in the afternoon, regardless. A fresh show. And also go to the podcast, man. I'm telling you, like, more and more people are downloading the podcast because our guys at Rogue Media are doing a great job of getting that up every day. So, if you can't sit down and watch it on YouTube, listen in the car, listen while you're on the trail, give me a shot and then turn it off. Send it to a friend, man. I'm telling you, we're doing something special here. We're up to, let's see where we are subscribers before we go. All right. Cause I got a little time. Can you tell I got some time today? We are at 90,288 subscribers. All right. And the content up there just from this week alone, the Jeff Pearlman interview is fantastic. The Sean Barber interview was amazing. A teammate of mine at Richmond, he played 10 years in the NFL. With Pearlman, by the way, we talked about Tupac and his new book. Just looking through here. Also, we talked to Stephen Jones, co-owner of the Dallas Cowboys. Like, what am I doing talking to Stephen Jones? Go to YouTube and find out, baby, or go to the podcast. And we also talked, and I'm going to have to give this guy a call again. We talked to Matt Estridge we talked to Brian Estridge. When I say Matt, Brian Estridge with TCU. He's the voice of the Horned Frogs. We talked to him on Monday. So yeah, man, enjoy the weekend of college football. Make sure you continue to consume the content. We appreciate you being on the ride with me. Scotty Swingler and the crew will be in Fort Worth tomorrow for the pregame show. Check that out on the Rogue Media Network, the Green and Gold Show. Mosley, Lynch, Swingler. It's going to be awesome. And then after that, it'll be followed by a Sawyer Robertson fireworks display. All right, we'll see you Monday.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Sousa Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Sousa Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.